The story begins with the death of an evil female who was considered justly punished under the strict law of the jungle, where the strongest survives. At the same moment, another girl finds herself in the world of beastmen and suddenly becomes the mother of four snake-like children. And to top it all off, she's also being courted by a dark-skinned beast man. The first thing the girl saw and heard when she opened her eyes were the voices of unfamiliar children, and they didn't sound very friendly. From their words, where they called her a terrible female, she understood that they were clearly not thrilled with the news of her awakening. But what upset the children even more was that the girl, contrary to their expectations, was still alive. The next sensation was an unbearable headache, which was the result of a strong blow. However, almost immediately, she noticed something strange. The wound on her chest mysteriously disappeared, as if it had never been there. Seeing the blood on her hands, the girl realized that the wound on the back of her head was serious, and it was definitely not worth joking with. Since there was no one around except these children, she decided to find out at least one thing: who they were. While one of them looked a little sympathetic, the other was already holding the stone, just in case it came in handy. When Beiji wanted to introduce himself and named his brother Shi Qing, he sharply ordered him to be silent, suspecting trickery. The girl, whose head was splitting, finally couldn't stand it anymore, raised her voice, and asked directly who she was. So Xian learned her name from Beiji, while his brother stubbornly continued to call her a horrible female. She didn't know whether to be more surprised by her own memory loss or by the fact that she was considered evil and nasty. Moreover, she had no idea where she was, because her last memory was a real apocalypse. Remembering that moment, she assumed that the explosion was to blame, after which her life clearly took a wrong turn. Analyzing the situation, Shi Yan even assumed that she had somehow miraculously made a leap in time. But later, another thought occurred to her. She had once read a novel about children and a very cruel mother. In that story, there were four snake-like children, and they were the main characters of the entire adventure. And the ending was sad in the end. Her own children literally drove that mother to her grave. In other words, these two little ones in front of her could theoretically take her life someday. Realizing that her fate depended on them, the girl suddenly rushed to hug them. Saiting, without ceasing to call her an evil female, instantly threw a stone at her, preventing her from getting any closer. At this moment, Xian couldn't stand it anymore and started yelling at them, forgetting everything else in the world. But looking at the children again, she abruptly fell silent, remembering their tragic fate from the novel. They had a hard life. They were beaten so that no traces remained, because otherwise it would be more difficult to sell the goods. These memories brought tears to the girl's eyes involuntarily, because the picture was too cruel. The children, before Xian came to, decided to run away from her as far as possible. Looking at her hands, the girl realized that in this body she had truly been a terrible mother. Fortunately, along with her life, her abilities returned. Otherwise, she would have bled to death long ago. Now her first task was to carefully observe the environment. Upon exiting the cave, Xian was amazed by the multitude of plants she had only dreamed of in the apocalypse world. It turned out that she had fallen into a primitive society of beastmen, where the difference between them was simple: male or female. Every blade of grass and every tree here is huge. That's how this world was described in the novel. But now the girl's main priority was not to remember the novels, but simply to survive. However, this is almost impossible when there are four snake-like children around who wish her death. To somehow distract herself, the girl spent the whole day tidying up the cave. However, all this time her children never returned home, even though it was already getting dark. So Xian decided to go look for them herself, calling their names loudly. Soon, she heard Shi Qing's voice sternly ordering her to stop screaming. Turning around, the girl saw gloomy children who sincerely did not understand why she was making such a fuss. Although the girl was angry, she called them bunnies and asked where they had been, because she had prepared food for them. Beiji insultingly remarked that they were not rabbits, but snakes, and that, by the way, was a big difference. But at the same time, they both became curious about what that mysterious bunny was. The girl patiently explained that it was a small animal with long ears, fast and a little funny. Saiting proudly declared that he had seen such a long-eared animal and had just been crushed by a tree trunk. The girl realized that in this world you need to use every opportunity and ask to be shown a place. Surprisingly, Shi Jing immediately agreed, without any argument, to show them where they had supposedly seen the hair. Beiji knew that they had not seen any hair, so he asked his brother in surprise what he was talking about. Saiting explained that he had come up with a plan to teach the treacherous female a lesson. Having gone quite far, Si Yen became worried because she had poor orientation in the area, and there were no navigators here. So the hair no longer seemed so important, and she suggested that the children return to the cave. Sticking out his strangely changed tongue, Shi Qing suddenly said that they could go back if she wanted. Seeing that tongue, the girl suddenly remembered that by their nature, they were snakes. And strangely enough, in the past and present, her greatest fear remained snakes. While Si Yan was thinking about this, she didn't even notice her children quietly disappearing somewhere. Two cunning bunnies deliberately brought her here. The tired girl sighed and realized that the path to their trust would be long and winding. Thinking that the children were hiding somewhere nearby, Si Yan shouted that it was time to return home, because she might encounter a beast. And just then, looking back, she saw a huge monster that made her feel scary. In the cave, Shi Qing was satisfied with his deed and thought he had punished the female well. Suddenly, his attention was distracted by his brother, who at first thought they had mistakenly entered a cave. When they approached the table, they couldn't believe their eyes, because there was food prepared by that terrible female. Remembering her words about how she had been waiting for them for a long time and had been preparing dinner, they realized that it was true. While Shi Qing suspected poison, Beiji had already tasted the food and declared it incredibly delicious. Saiting still didn't trust the girl, but eventually he tried it too and admitted that it tasted pretty good. But he was worried that she was acting too strangely, as if she were setting them up for some kind of trap. After all, she had already sold Dunchi and Nanmo once, so he pushed the food away and confirmed his suspicions, thinking that she had never loved him. Everyone knew that cold-blooded, snake-like beastmen were not respected anywhere. Even their own mothers shunned them. Even Beiji agreed, saying that their price was only one skin. Meanwhile, Shi Yan also thought badly of the children, thinking that they wanted to give her to wild animals. But the experience of the apocalypse had taught her how to survive, so the fight with the animal did not seem hopeless. It is unknown where it came from, but she had a real weapon, strange for that time. True, she didn't wield it very skillfully, so the beast dodged the bullets. The girl was surprised because killing this animal turned out to be even more difficult than killing a zombie, so she started using vines to keep the beast from catching up with her. She wanted to use the power of the trees to first immobilize the enemy, but the wood energy was slow and could only hold him back for a short time. Meanwhile, a beastman in the form of a bird watched her, convinced that the female would not be able to defeat such a titan. Sitting on the tree, Shi Yan herself understood that sooner or later the monster could eat her, so she decided to use a different technique. It was a wire blade called a drop of blood, a legendary cold weapon of the apocalypse. She waited patiently until the beast came very close, and soon, with one sharp movement, she was able to completely immobilize the monster forever. The bird watched and could not believe that this female was so strong. The girl decided to take everything useful she could from the beast. Besides, she was terribly hungry and decided to get some refreshment. The bird was more and more surprised and did not understand where she got these strange things from. The girl considered that the appearance of a white tiger meant the presence of other predators. So, having grabbed her prey, she decided to get out of here as quickly as possible. And after that, the bird turned into a young man who had never seen such a hunt. After tasting her food, he realized that she was not only a good hunter, but also an excellent cook. Mu Xiao even thought that if she were prettier, he might like her, but he quickly pushed that thought away. Meanwhile, the girl, angry with the children, was already returning to the cave. Si Yan became a mother for the first time, and definitely wasn't going to put up with such a mess. In the cave, she saw children, frightened and cornered. Even though they knew what their mother was capable of, they were still afraid of her every time. But this time, she only surprised them and ordered them to go to bed quickly. This order surprised them so much that for a moment, the fear disappeared from their faces, and in its place appeared sincere surprise. Then the brothers thought they sensed whether she had really allowed them to sleep on the bed. Seeing that the children were in no hurry to move, the girl took them by the skins and put them on the bed herself. Yiding shouted that she was crazy because she had never let them climb on the bed before. Si Yin was outraged that they were calling her an evil female and ordered them to address her as mother. She still hadn't forgotten how they had abandoned their mother in the middle of the night in the forest where she could have been torn apart by animals. Si Qing was not left in debt and shouted that they had left her in a safe place if she had not gotten lost herself. The girl had nothing to say to this reproach, for she had indeed wandered through the forest for some time, looking for her way. But still, she noticed that despite everything, it was impossible to leave her alone in the forest. Finally, the frightened children heard the words they had been waiting for all day. She said she would punish them. However, by punishment, Shi Yen meant that both of them would sleep with her on the bed. The children, expecting some kind of trickery, were very surprised when they noticed that she had really just fallen asleep. Then, for the first time, Beiji thought that this evil female wasn't so bad after all. After all, it was at this moment that he first felt the warmth of home and whispered to her for forgiveness. Pushing her hair back from her face, he quietly explained that he just wanted to scare her a little. But Shi Jing had a different opinion and didn't understand why she should apologize, and warned her that she might throw them both out. And soon they left their mother in the cave, took their prey and food, and went in an unknown direction. Si Yan woke up to the sunlight shining on her face and immediately rushed to look for the children. She was the first to notice that the pot of meat and the animal skins were gone. Then she guessed that the boys had run away again and sighed, because being a mother is not easy at all. At that moment, she found a common thread with this part of the world. If you want to be full, work with your own hands. But suddenly she heard children's voices and crying. Coming out of the cave, the girl saw an angry stranger. Xiangnai shouted that no one needed cold-blooded snakes who had come out to steal something again. Si Qing was stubborn, and even when she pulled his ear, he stubbornly repeated that they hadn't stolen anything. But it seemed that this behavior only annoyed the woman more, and she started hitting them. The girl also got angry and decided that no one would understand anything without a good beating. The children thought that these words were addressed to them, when suddenly they heard her shouting at the woman. Xiangnai, having never seen a girl so protective of children, even let them go in surprise. But in a moment, the angry girl herself grabbed her by the hair and ordered her not to touch her children. While the women were sorting out the relationship, the children hid behind a tree, away from the danger. They were used to thinking that the evil female didn't care about them, so they were sure that now it would happen to them too. At that moment, Cyan noticed the children behind the tree and realized how much they didn't trust her. Holding the woman by the hair, she repeated once again that her children had not stolen anything. The woman said that they had taken her red fruits that were lying on a leaf. And then the girl realized that despite all the accusations, Xiangnai had not even seen the theft with her own eyes. When Si Yen let her go, she started screaming that she was crazy and that her head was hurting. Meanwhile, the girl decided to investigate and indeed found a leaf with the smell of sweet potatoes. Nearby, she noticed footprints that were unlike any her children could have left. And following them, she soon found the real thieves. They turned out to be little bears who had already finished eating the sweet potatoes. The woman immediately appeared behind them and recognized them as Xiangzhou's children. Without ceremony, she grabbed the bear cubs just like she had grabbed Shi Yen's children before. An outraged Si Yen said that when the culprits are found, the woman should apologize to her children. But she refused and said that even if they didn't steal anything, she wasn't going to apologize to the snakes. But in an instant, her confidence vanished. Xiangnai noticed that the girl was up to something. The girl ordered him to apologize again, and immediately after refusing, the woman was punched in the stomach. Even then, Xiangnai didn't understand why she had to apologize, since she had been digging up sweet potatoes all day. For these words, she received another punch, this time in the face. The girl said that enough talk and reminded her that the woman had slandered and insulted her children. Already frightened by the girl's behavior, the woman knelt down and asked the children for forgiveness. After that, she quickly rushed away so that Shi Yen wouldn't do anything else to her. The brothers, frightened by their mother's behavior, did not notice that they should also run away. But no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't do it. The woman stood behind them and grabbed them. Watching her anger, the children realized that the evil female remained evil and had not changed at all. However, the girl did not intend to scold the children, but led them to the cave and prepared breakfast. Bai Ji was surprised to see that his mother could use sacred fire. Si Qing didn't see anything strange in this, believing that a demon had taken possession of her, which was why she was acting so strangely. Meanwhile, Shi Yan finished preparing breakfast. She called her distrustful children, who treated her with caution, to eat. Xiqing, suspecting poison in the food, immediately declared that he would not eat. The girl didn't try to persuade them, but left the food nearby and left. The hungry children came closer, smelling the aroma of the delicious food. Unable to bear it, they began to eat, wondering how the evil female had become so kind and cooked so deliciously. Soon the girl returned, and the children had already eaten everything. Xian brought a large tree stump and wondered what to do with it. At first, I wanted to make a bucket, but I didn't have the right tool. Xiting wondered why she couldn't use the snake scales left behind by their father. The girl remembered a moment from the novel and found a convenient tool. With one swing, she easily chopped the stump in half. Beiji remarked that her father was very powerful, but it seemed like she wouldn't need this thing right now. Looking at the snake's scales, the girl thought that the father of these future thieves was probably a super thief himself. Soon, Xian made a large bucket and began filling it with water. After that, she called the children to swim. Saiting flatly refused to wash, saying he would rather die. She couldn't convince him, even with blackmail, that if he didn't wash up, there would be no dinner. Realizing that it was useless with Xiqing, she turned to another brother. Before Xiqing could say anything, his brother immediately walked over to the barrel. After washing, she wrapped Beiji in the beast's skin. Xie admired her son, considering him a cute little boy. Meanwhile, Xiqing watched, dissatisfied with his brother's behavior, but decided to remain silent. Then the girl decided to wash herself, noticing that Beiji didn't hate her so much anymore. The beginning was made. While bathing, she opened a spacious storage room where only one set of clothes remained. The girl had no choice but to put it on, because she didn't want to walk around naked. The children were amazed to behold their mother's beauty, for they had noticed how attractive she was before. As she was about to go get water, Xian ordered the children to sit and wait. Unexpectedly, Shi Qiqing interrupted her, noting that it was dangerous on the street because of the male beastmen. The girl, in her hurry to wash herself, forgot that they were now in a tribe with many males and few females. Deciding not to go out for now, she put herself in order. Suddenly, she saw Beiji in tears, holding his stomach. When she asked what happened, he hugged her and said he was probably dying, and asked her not to forget about him. Xian, not understanding anything, asked for a normal explanation. The boy said that worms appeared in his stool. As she got closer, the girl noticed that beastmen drank raw meat and water, so worms were a common occurrence. Taking the boy on her shoulders, she asked him not to be afraid, and was going to take him to the shaman. To Beiji, it seemed like a waste of time, because if he hadn't reached the green crystal level yet, the worms could kill him. The girl, irritated, shouted that he would not die. Soon they reached the shaman, and the girl explained that she had come for medicine for worms. The woman did not understand her, because she had brought a baby snake man and was also dressed strangely. However, she said that she would not treat the boy and ordered him to return home. Xian was willing to give up any number of skins for the health of her children without hesitation. The shaman explained that it was not her unwillingness to treat, but that there was only one way to cure the disease. She added that to do this, she needed to break through to the green crystal level as quickly as possible. Realizing that it would be of no use, the girl promised her son to find the cure herself. However, returning to the cave, Xian could not forget the shaman's words about the green crystal and thought about how to reach it. As she walked, she almost ran into a beastman that suddenly appeared on the path. He wondered if she wanted to mate with him, looking slyly. The girl, preoccupied with her own thoughts, rudely refused him without even looking back. Only Beiji seems to have recognized the man as Tyson, the first warrior of the Yangxiang tribe. Continuing on their journey, Jiyan regretted that they did not live in the modern world, because the worms would have disappeared long ago. But eventually, she remembered that she had studied botany at university and remembered something about plants against worms. To think better, she took up household chores, and this continued until evening. Xiqing even suggested that the evil female had forgotten about her brother, as she had been silently cleaning and carrying water all day. Bai Ji insultingly remarked that she could not forget him, and was amazed at her efforts. It was at this moment that the girl remembered that pumpkin seeds could help cure the disease. After drawing a schematic drawing, she asked the boys if they had seen such a plant. Fortunately, Xiqing spotted her downstream and pointed the way. Soon the girl returned with a full basket of pumpkins, pleased with her loot. Sayin suggested that everyone eat them together to cure themselves of the illness. The boys were skeptical, because even the doctor couldn't cure them. The girl cooked porridge and gave it to the children, hoping that it would work. Baiji quickly ate the pumpkin without fear or conscience. Unlike his brother, Sichingen only started eating after the girl tried it herself, cautiously. He was quite hungry, so he ate everything very quickly, almost gulping it down. Within a few minutes, they felt better, and the joy was unexpected. The method worked. Saiching didn't want to believe it, and thought it was a coincidence. But the girl didn't insist. Finally, Beiji started addressing her as his mother and asked what she was doing. The girl explained that she wanted to transplant pumpkins into the yard and grow them for the children. These words were incomprehensible to the boys, and they did not understand her plan. Ziching, as always, did not trust her ideas and asked again if the pumpkin would really grow. The girl was confident in her actions and said that maybe others wouldn't succeed, but she would definitely succeed. Holding a ripe pumpkin in her hands, Xian remarked that it would be ready to eat tomorrow. Xiqing was amazed by her abilities and even thought she was doing magic, controlling plants. The girl explained that it was a secret and only the two of them knew it, asking them to keep it a secret. The boys had no choice but to agree, although they didn't really want to. Towards nightfall, she asked for help with a new idea. She wanted to create a curtain of grass that could be closed or raised as needed. Baiji seems to have forgiven her completely and admired her intelligence and resourcefulness. However, his brother still had a distrustful attitude, which somewhat strained their relationship. Sien decided to check if the boy was going to bed by asking him. She understood that she could not tell the truth about their mother's death, so she had to earn trust through her actions. Qiqing was stubborn and refused to sleep on the bed again, unwilling to listen. The girl did not try to persuade him and said that he could sleep wherever he wanted. After that, she lay down on the bed herself and fell asleep almost immediately, pretending that nothing had happened. Little Qiqing curled up into a ball and perched against the cave wall. The girl had been awake all this time and finally noticed that Qiqing had fallen asleep. She carefully picked him up in her arms to move him to a more comfortable place. Admiring his face, she noticed a strange habit. When there is a bed, he still sleeps on the floor. With the first rays of the sun, Xian got up again and started preparing breakfast. She decided to cook pumpkin for them again so that the boys would definitely recover. Watching them immediately follow all the advice, she realized that they were gradually starting to trust her. Suddenly, Beiji approached her and asked for some more medicine and pumpkin. The girl immediately remembered that she had two other sons and assumed that the boy wanted to take food to them. So Siyin agreed and started looking for a sheet to neatly wrap the dish. Then she began to explain how to take the medicine correctly and how often. Soon the boys rushed to their brothers, full of determination. As they walked past other caves, they noticed people in physical contact. Saiting noticed that all the males in the tribe were standing in a group near the other females, but not near his mother. Seeing his brother distracted, Beiji reminded him that they were almost there. The first person they noticed was a woman who was being flattered by the men. Nearby, they saw their brothers, one of whom the man was about to beat. When Dunshi wanted to protect him, he was immediately punched in the face. The men said that if it weren't for their kind and beautiful lady, no one would have taken them in at all. Sihing remembered how they begged Shiyin not to sell them, but she felt no pity, and now they were suffering. At this moment, they tried to discreetly call one of their brothers. One of them, upon receiving the medicine, did not believe that it was given by an evil female. Baiji confirmed his words, explaining that this medicine saved him and his brother. Dunshi was stubborn and didn't want to take anything from the evil female at all. Beiji, realizing that he himself would not be able to convince him, asked Qiqing to explain to the brothers that the medicine could save their lives. Ziqing, taking care of his brothers, confirmed that medicine could indeed help. Finally, they were convinced, and within a few minutes, the boys were already tasting the pumpkin. Beiji remembered that his older brother had a broken arm and wondered if he was still being forced to work. Before he could answer, a log flew in his direction, breaking the bowl. Immediately, a woman appeared, their landlady, very angry. Seeing Beiji and Qiqing, she just smiled and assumed that they had come to feed the brothers. Seeing such strong brotherly love, Xiangzhou even wanted to buy them both. But Qiqing was not going to give in so easily and said that it was just a dream. For this, he immediately received a slap in the face from the woman, who believed that he dared not say such a thing. Xiangzhou treated them with contempt, considering them dirty, ugly, and cold-blooded snakes that belonged in the grave. The girl ordered her men to seize the naughty cubs. Xiqing, trying to break free, continued to fight, unwilling to submit. At this time, Xiangnai was passing nearby. Even though she almost beat the children a few days ago, she felt sorry for them. Remembering how last time Shi Yan was ready to give her life for the children, she decided to urgently inform her of the danger. When the girl found out what was happening to her children, she was overcome with rage and indignation. While Xiangnai was trying to regain her breath, she quickly ran to save the children. Running up, she started yelling at the men, asking if they weren't ashamed to do this. When she saw the children, she recognized her own and saw how beaten they were. At this moment, she noticed Xiongzhou, to whom she had previously sold her children. The woman silently threw 2 more animal skins at her feet. She explained that she wanted to ransom 2 more children in exchange for these skins. Si Yan angrily stepped on the skin, calling her a fat bear. She made it clear that these were only her cubs and she wouldn't sell any, and today she came to pick up all 4. The woman, outraged by such treatment, tried to remind them that she herself had a thin physique, although in their time, curvaceous forms were preferred. Si Yen replied that even in a nightmare, she would not wish for such an appearance, and noted that she did not have a single male, but 4 children. The woman, who had no children at all, was unable to answer. The men also heard the girl's words and confirmed their truthfulness, but Xiongzhou decided to switch to the children, remembering that she had sold them herself and considered them worthy only of contempt. Si Yin silenced her once again, declaring that she was taking all her children back. The woman was sure that her threat was an empty sound, because she herself had drawn up a slavery contract on a blackboard. Pointing her finger at the children, she reminded them that she had personally sold them to her. The girl only glanced at the children out of the corner of her eye so that they wouldn't notice, and realized how cruel the former mistress of her body had been. She continued to bluff, explaining that her words were just wind, trying to deceive her. An enraged Xiongzhou invited them into the cave so that, if she wanted, she could see for herself. Beiji, worried about his mother, asked her to be careful. Dunti immediately noticed that he was addressing her as his mother, and this infuriated and angered him. Beiji loudly declared that she was now protecting them, and it was something he had never even dared to dream of. Meanwhile, in the cave, Xiongzhou ordered the men to find a contract for the boys' slavery. The angry girl, because they dared to insult her children, decided to take revenge in full. She already knew exactly how she would do it, or rather, using her power. Meanwhile, the female assistants finally found a contract. Xiongzhou, who wanted to silence the girl, proudly showed her the contract sign. After reading it, the girl was truly convinced that Dongqi and Nanmo had been sold into slavery, and she could not understand how crazy the mistress had become to sell her own children so cruelly. While the woman was saying that her children were now her slaves, Si Yen quietly changed the text on the sign. When she succeeded, Shi Yen accused the woman of being illiterate. Showing the sign with the changed text, the girl noted that it was no longer a slavery contract, but a regular labor contract. Xiongzhou, unable to believe it, took the tablet and decided to check the text herself. While she tried to understand what was happening, the girl calmly claimed that she had only agreed to give the children away for 10 days so that they could earn 2 animal skins and began to demand compensation. The woman was so angry that she grabbed the sign and destroyed it, demanding an explanation of how she had been deceived. Xiongzhou ordered her henchmen to kill the girl, promising a generous reward to whoever did it. It is not known how it would have ended if the shaman, Mei Wen, and the tribal elder had not intervened. Si Yin explained that she was going to take the children, but the woman was not going to give them back. Despite the lack of a treaty, Xiongzhou stood her ground, claiming that her children were now her slaves. The girl seized the moment and asked where the slavery agreement was if she insisted so much. Xiongzhou had nothing to show because the sign, even with the employment contract, had been destroyed. Meanwhile, the girl explained to the elder that she had paid 2 animal skins for the children to work for 10 days. Pressing for pity with tears in her eyes, she said that the woman was forcing her males to kill her, and she herself was defenseless. Thanks to her acting talent, the girl convinced the elder, and he advised her to return the children to their mother. But Xiongzhou was unwilling to let the slaves go, noting that they were merely workers, and her first partner had been killed by a serpentine. The elder put her in her place, reminding her that these were only the girl's children. But the woman's problems didn't end there. Suddenly, her servant explained that their target had disappeared. Xian knew that in the human world, salt was a scarce resource, and females and children needed direct consumption. While Xiangzhou accused the girl of stealing the salt, the girl did not expect to be noticed so quickly. Cyan remained confident that no one would suspect her, and calmly denied it, saying it was slander. Xiangzhou, of course, did not believe it and ordered a search. The girl turned to the elder again, asking if it was possible to accuse someone in their tribe without evidence. The elder didn't understand, and asked directly what she meant. The girl explained that if Xiangzhou did not find salt near her, she would demand compensation and a formal apology. Xiangzhou didn't want to agree, but she had no other choice. She was sure that Si Yan had stolen the salt, and decided that if it was true, she would take all of her children. The children looked at their mother with fear, not knowing what would happen to them in a few minutes. Si Yan agreed to the conditions, but with the requirement that the search not be conducted by Xiangzhou. Therefore, she turned to the shaman, knowing about her high authority. Si Yan was sure that no one would find anything, because all the things were hidden in the spatial pocket, and only she can open it. Therefore, she confidently allowed the search, knowing that no one would find anything with her. As expected, the shaman confirmed that no salt was found. Xiangzhou, unwilling to apologize, continued to claim that the salt was hers. Even the elder could not stand her accusations and ordered her to be silent. After all, despite the doctor's confirmation that the girl had no salt, the woman still did not calm down. And so she ordered Xiangzhou to fulfill his promise, leaving no chance of refusal. At that moment, the girl confirmed the elder's words, reminding him that she owed her 2 skins. Without hesitation, Xiangzhou ordered her males to give the skins to the girl. After taking the compensation, Shi Yin ordered her children to go home. Dunshi could barely contain the pain, as his bones were broken during the battle, and he had to walk home. His mother couldn't help but notice this, and immediately looked at her son with an attentive gaze. She remembered a conversation with an elder, where she learned that the boy's arm had grown together incorrectly, and his leg had also been broken during the fight. So the girl exchanged her skin for pills to help Dunshi. Sian asked if he could walk home by himself, but the guy didn't even want to talk to her. The boy hated his mother for selling him out, and any dialogue was unnecessary. The girl just smiled at his stubbornness and silently took him in her arms. Surprise appeared on the boy's face. It was the first time a bad female had hugged him. However, he did not trust her and was convinced that she wanted to hurt him. So he immediately started screaming, demanding to let him go because she had no right to hold him. Realizing that she was not going to let go, the boy decided to bite her hand. Sian had to let him go, warning him that a fight could make treating the leg useless even for the best doctor. Dunti, furious, replied that even if it was true, it didn't concern her. The girl understood that his anger was completely justified towards the woman who sold him. In addition, the broken bones caused him even more pain, making every movement a torment. In the end, Dunchi couldn't stand it anymore and simply fell at the girl's feet. His younger brothers immediately ran over, worried about their older brother's condition. Si Yan took him in her arms again, realizing that getting others to recognize her authority would be much more difficult. Upon arriving at the cave, she decided to begin treating Nanmo. The boy, watching her, could not believe it, because he did not remember her ever being so kind. Meanwhile, Dunchi lay nearby, barely enduring the pain. Sian saw that he was in a really bad state and couldn't cope on his own. Realizing that she would have to use her skills, she asked Shiqing to lower him to the ground. Her tree elemental ability had a healing effect, giving a chance to heal a broken bone. She was sure that at least this would ease his suffering. The rest of the children watched the girl's actions closely, assuming that the evil female was perhaps just a priestess. They were worried and hoped that nothing bad would happen to their older brother. When Dunchi felt better and stopped screaming in pain, the girl asked how long it had been since the injury. But he, as expected, didn't want to talk to her. Then Si Yan turned to Beiji, with whom she had the best relationship. The boy sadly replied that it had been 15 days since he broke his leg. The girl realized that the hand was not properly fixed and had grown together incorrectly. She felt insulted because the boy was only 5 years old, and he was already suffering so much. However, Si Yan decided to help, explaining that she wanted to set the bone and asked his permission. As usual, the boy ordered not to touch him. Even if he died, it was none of her business. At this point, Shiqing asked what it meant to set a bone, and the girl explained that it meant to break it again and fix it correctly. Pointing to his leg, Si Yan emphasized that the situation was the same. Dunchi, convinced that the girl only wanted to torture him, began to scream at her not to touch him. The girl said she would heal the bone, but if he hated her, she could hit him with the same hand. Dunchi didn't understand why she was asking him, because she always did things her own way. Continuing to look at the boy's face, Cyan realized that he hated her the most. Remembering the plot of the novel, she realized that this guy wanted to take her life more than anyone else. Therefore, she had no choice but to cure the boy, hoping that this would change history. For treatment, Yen was going to use the element of wood again, but realizing that he was hostile, she immediately shut him up. After that, the girl ordered him to stop dreaming and remember that he would never be able to kill her in his life, even despite his hatred. After her words, the girl began to exercise his bone. If it weren't for the tissue in his mouth, the boy would have screamed loudly. When Yen finished the treatment, the boy fell weakly onto the bed, barely able to stand. The girl herself wasn't sure if everything was okay, so she decided to monitor his temperature at night. But deep down, she really wanted him to endure all of this. The next morning, the girl gathered a whole basket of vegetables for the boy and the other children. On the way to the cave, she heard a strange noise, so loud that even the birds were scared. At that moment, a frightened Beiji ran to her, hurrying to deliver the alarming news. He told her that their older brother had escaped from the cave, which shocked the girl. She was amazed that the boy, even without arms and legs, still tried to run away, like a stubborn little boy. Upon returning, Yen ordered Nanmo to stay home because he had not yet recovered from his injuries. She explained to the other children that they had to find their brother and bring him back because the bones had not yet healed. Looking at Beiji, the girl remembered that immediately after her arrival in this world, they themselves had run away from her. She understood that the boy couldn't have gone far because of his injuries, and she couldn't look for him because he wouldn't come back. Suddenly, Jiangnai came to the cave and started shouting, asking what the girl was doing, because the elder was calling a meeting. On the way to the meeting, the girl asked about the reason, to which she was told that it was probably because of the sacred fire. Yen learned that the sacred fire is the soul of the people, and if it goes out, the tribe seems to lose its mind. The girl remembered that in this era, people did not yet know how to make fire on their own. Therefore, the single source of fire became a symbol of life for the entire tribe, like the heartbeat of humans. Yen decided to find out where fire came from in the past, because the question seemed logical. The woman was surprised, but explained that the sacred fire is a gift from the god of animals, and only children consecrated by fire can grow up healthy. The girl listened wearily to her passionate story, realizing that it wasn't that important to her because she knew how to make fire herself. It seemed that even Xiangnai was more worried about her than she was about herself, because without a male protector, it was still dangerous. Realizing that it was pointless to argue with Yen, Xiangnai approached the other females, seeking company. As soon as Yen moved on, Xiangzhou immediately appeared in front of her, and the girl noticed that she herself looked like an outcast. Looking around, she realized that without her husband by her side, she truly felt like a stranger among the tribe. An elder was already at the meeting and noticed her nephew looking at Yen with curiosity, so she unexpectedly asked him if he wanted to mate with her, causing the guy to be surprised. Embarrassed, he replied that she was talking nonsense, trying to brush off the question. But the woman was sure because the whole clan knows that he proposed to Yen, and she had rejected him before. Although the woman noticed that the girl had changed a little recently, she could not predict how much. In addition, Tyson is the only male in the tribe in the last 100 years who has awakened blood with special abilities, and he has become the hope of the entire tribe. So she decided it was better to choose Xiangnai than the thin and dark little Yen. But before she could consult with Tyson, she noticed that he had suddenly disappeared. Soon she saw that the boy just walked straight towards the girl. Yen asked him with one look what he had forgotten near her. The man elaborately explained that since she had no male, the elder had sent him to guard her. As expected, the girl didn't really believe his words. However, looking at the other females surrounded by males, Yen suggested that perhaps this was true. So, although without much enthusiasm, she allowed the boy to stay by her side. But she immediately noticed that he was standing too close and tried to move away a little. All this time, a disgruntled Xiangzhou watched them. She tried to contain her anger, considering the girl a pitiful, selfless female. My friend noticed that this girl was not at all selfless. After all, next to her stands the tribe's first warrior, Tyson. But Xiongzhou was not going to give up so easily and believed that all was not lost. At that moment, the girl noticed Beiji calling her in the bushes. According to him, they found the older brother, but he plans to take revenge and burn down Xiongzhou's cave. The girl wondered where the boy got the fire from. Later, she assumed that he must have brought it from home. Xian knew things were bad because she wasn't worried about the woman's cave, but about the fact that everyone knew that the sacred fire had gone out. But Dunchi still had it. Unlike the others, she knew where he got this fire from. So when everyone finds out about the sacred fire, everyone will associate its disappearance with their family. Without explaining anything to the surprised Tyson, Shi Yen quickly ran towards the cave. Meanwhile, besides the boy, Shi Qing stood near the cave, telling his brother not to do anything stupid. But Dun Qi was determined, because he had already become crippled because of her, and he wanted revenge, and was even willing to give his life for it. He was indifferent to everything because he considered his life worthless and useless to anyone. Xi Qing silently listened to his story with tears in his eyes, feeling pain from the injustice. Suddenly, their mother's voice was heard behind them, remarking that Dunchi was not a mistake at all. After all, at such a young age, he is already learning to set others on fire. Dunchi didn't understand how she got here or what she wanted, because she was the one who sold him out, and she shouldn't care if he was doing the right thing. But even despite everything, Xian still came to him to try to stop him. But as always, the boy told the male that it was none of her business. Approaching, she said that he did not want to burn down the woman's cave, but hers. She added that if he had the courage, he should set fire to the woman who sold him. The boy couldn't stand it and started screaming, demanding an explanation for why he had been sold, and repeating that he wanted to burn her. After all, he wasn't afraid of hunger or cold. He wasn't even afraid of fighting. But he didn't understand why he had been sold. Xian realized that she couldn't answer his question, so she promised to never sell it to anyone again. Dunti just waved it away and said he would never trust her again. After all, she already sold it, so she will do it again. Seeing that the boy had not changed his mood and was still trying to set the cave on fire, the girl tried to stop him. Although Xi Yen grabbed the boy, the torch fell from his hands and fell straight into the woman's cave. Since there was dry hay, the fire engulfed the entire cave in a matter of seconds. Grabbing Dongqi, she ordered Xi Qing to lead her brother away home, and she asked Beiji to take care of her older brother. It was at this time, against her son's urging, that the woman threw herself into the fire. Taking the skin, Shi Yen tried to extinguish the flames, but she didn't have time, because all the people of the tribe gathered for the smoke, as well as Xiongzhou, who began to call her names and accuse her of arson. She also indicated that it was the girl who stole the sacred fire and destroyed the cave with it. Tyson was about to rush after the girl, but another girl stopped him, noting that it was dangerous. Meanwhile, Shi Yen tried unsuccessfully to put out the fire, realizing that skin alone would not solve anything here. Suddenly, she noticed a scoop of sand nearby. Taking it, she began to pour sand on the fire, and it gradually went out. As soon as the flames died down, the elder began to accuse her of extinguishing the tribe's only fire. The girl was irritated because she had to first put out the fire while Xiongzhou shouted, and now she had to listen to the reproaches. Xiongzhou decided to take the chance and convince everyone that first the girl stole the fire, then set the cave on fire, and then completely destroyed it. Her friend immediately supported this version, noting that Xi Yen was a spy from another tribe, sent to destroy their tribe. While the elder mourned the lost fire, Xi Yen tried to prove that she was not a traitor. Suddenly, Tyson came to her defense, noting that she was not who she was accused of being. Other men have already spoken out against the girl, noting that she has done nothing in the tribe for years, and today she put out the fire herself. Xiongzhou, which she had been striving for, began to demand that the girl be expelled from the tribe. Meanwhile, watching Dunchi, who blamed his mother, he didn't understand why all the blame was placed on her if he himself had done it. He was about to leave and confess to everyone who was really guilty, but Beiji stopped him. Beiji explained that they should trust their mother because she would definitely come up with something. In fact, the girl had already thought of it, and she said that if she was expelled, the tribe would never be able to light the sacred fire. When the elder asked what she meant, the girl explained that just as she could extinguish it, she could also light it. The elder, for whom fire was the meaning of life, at first could not believe her words. Xian confirmed her promise, but noted that if she left the tribe, she would not be able to rekindle the fire. Realizing that the situation might not turn out to be in her favor, Xiangzhou again tried to convince the elder that the girl was lying. However, after weighing all the pros and cons, the elder promised that once the girl lit the fire, no one would dare to drive her away. Xiangzhou was outraged by the leader's decision, but could not object to it. Jiyan also decided not to remain indebted to the woman and said that she would light a sacred fire if Xiangzhou left the Yangxiang tribe. The tribe was in no hurry to fulfill her conditions because there were already few females, so they offered something else. But the girl insisted that if they couldn't drive the woman away, they should forget about the fire forever. Realizing that there were no alternatives, the tribe begged her to restore the sacred fire. Then Shi Yan turned to the great beast god and said that even if the tribe did not fulfill the conditions, she would still revive the fire. However, she also turned to Tyson, calling him a brave warrior of the god of beasts, and asked him to help kindle the flames. The guy, who really liked the girl, happily agreed to help her. She asked him to come closer so that only he could hear her words. After that, he took some hay and approached the place where the fire had just gone out. But the hot flame was still smoldering. People were stunned when the fire actually broke out again. Watching Xi Yan, the man found her beautiful and naive. And even in this dangerous world, she remained without a male protector. Tyson decided that he had to protect her himself, even though the girl could have taken care of herself. Meanwhile, other tribesmen continued to rejoice in the revival of the sacred fire. Everyone was happy, except for two women who didn't like the event, but the person who had started the fire. Meanwhile, the children sat in the cave, waiting for their mother to return. Seeing that Dunchi was sitting more quietly than everyone else, she asked where his courage was, with which he set fire to the cave and scared everyone to death. However, when they returned home, he didn't even dare to look at her. Suddenly, Xian noticed that the boy looked very upset, and tears were about to fall from his eyes. But, once again declaring that it didn't bother her, he hid under the blanket. Xian wanted to say something else, but she didn't have time because a hungry Beiji approached her. When evening came, the boy was still lying under the blanket and had not eaten or drunk during this time. She even began to worry that he might accidentally die of hunger or suffocation. So, taking him in her arms, the girl decided to feed him herself. Dunsi didn't want to eat from her hands, so she had to trick him into giving her food. Then he remembered that she was a bad female for him, and he started screaming again, not wanting to eat. The girl said that even if she was a bad woman, she would make him not only eat, but also call her mother. The boy wanted to say something else, but didn't have time. Just then the girl stuffed a spoonful of food into his mouth, and he didn't have time to express his indignation. In the morning, Beiji was the first to wake up, noticing that his mother was about to go somewhere. Xian explained that they needed something to eat and went hunting. Her words also woke up Xi Qing, who considered hunting to be a male affair and thought that she wanted to abandon them again. The girl assured her that everything would work out, and she would definitely return in the evening. But Xi Qing was convinced that this female wanted to abandon them again. Beiji, turning to his brothers, said that if they wanted their mother to stay, they should be kinder to her. Meanwhile, during her walk, the girl found many useful berries with healing properties. She had already filled the basket, and as she walked on, she noticed a large plant. Recognizing the huge lettuce salad, she thought they had already provided for dinner tonight. Si Yin was returning to the trap she had set before leaving. Looking inside, she saw that a rabbit had gotten in there. Soon the girl returned to her children, who were eagerly waiting for her. Baiji immediately ran up to her, amazed at how much she had been able to find. Si Qing, meanwhile, thought that he had not even hoped for her return. The girl asked which of them knew how to work animal skins, and, as expected, only Beiji answered. As usual, she decided to use snake scales, sharp and handy to work with. Beiji approached her and told her to wait until he grew up. When an indignant Qiqing wanted to silence him, Beiji explained that once he reached the stage of a purple crystal beastman, his scales would belong to her. Qiqing considered his brother a traitor because he flattered his mother. After some time, the girl worked with Beiji to process animal skins. Qiqing approached them and remarked that they shouldn't think that only Beiji was so smart. After all, leatherworking is a basic skill for male beastmen, adding that his older brothers can do it too. Xian calmly said that it was one thing to know how to do it, but another to do it. After that, she began to pet and praise Beiji, while Shi Qing stood indignant and silent. Having cut the rabbit into pieces, the girl took the meat and hung it on a tree. When asked what she was doing, Shi Qing explained that meat cured with salt and dried in the wind could be stored for months. Shi Qing didn't believe it at first, but the girl said that he would soon see for himself. In the end, the boys believed him and offered to tell the tribal leader about this method, because in winter, many beastmen die due to lack of food. If a tribe learns how to preserve food, many more people will survive. Cien was in no hurry to share the secret and wondered how the leader and other members of the tribe felt about them. Sai Ching explained in a sad voice that the beastmen were not very kind to them, but the leader treated them normally, sometimes giving them food when they were hungry. Cien herself noticed how the woman helped her kids in a difficult situation with Xiongzhou. However, she was in no hurry to share the method and decided to think it over. Meanwhile, Beiji ran up to her with joy, saying that he had already processed the animal's skin. The girl immediately noticed the boy's red and swollen hands, which appeared to be due to the skin treatment. After praising the boy, she said that this was enough for the job. The boy pulled out a few hairs from the girl and offered to use them as threads. Soon the girl sewed him a cape from the skin of a long-eared rabbit, which he had trimmed himself. Baiji was hesitant, as he thought the cape was too small for him. Si Yin only told him to try it on first and then decide. All this time, Shi Qing watched, upset that he was not treated this way, and a little jealous of his brother. Meanwhile, Beiji had already changed his cape to a new one and was very happy. The girl began praising him again, saying how well done he was, and this embarrassed the boy a little. Since it was the first time she had praised him like that, the boy was extremely nervous. Due to excitement, he took on his true form, that of a small snake. Si Qing, seeing that his brother had changed form, realized that this was very bad. He realized that the boy was so excited that he couldn't control his true form. After all, he knew that this big evil female was most afraid of snakes. As expected, Shi Yen, who had completely forgotten about their snake origins, began to get nervous. The boy saw the fear on her face and felt a little sad. Despite her fear, she realized she had to get used to them, so she kissed him. While his brothers were surprised by the girl's calm reaction, Beiji explained that they liked being in snake form. Meanwhile, hugging her, the boy felt the girl trying to control herself, reminding him that these were her own children. The boy loved his mother so much and wanted to show it through hugs. Suddenly, he noticed that the girl was standing still. The next moment, Xian fell rapidly to the ground, unconscious. Confused by the events, the girl went to boil water, and the boy finally took on human form. Meanwhile, Shi Qing was looking at the cape that the evil female had given him today. She even embroidered a hieroglyph with his name on it. Holding the cape, the boy felt an unusual sensation, his heart pounding as if it wanted to burst out of his chest. His thoughts were interrupted by his mother, who suggested taking a bath. Throwing away his cloak, the boy quickly ran to his mother, unlike the first time. Meanwhile, the other brothers were upset that the evil female had not given them any capes. And Shi Qing screamed loudly, refusing to wash his hair. Since the boy was stubborn, Si Yen decided to accommodate his whims. After bathing, she dressed him in new clothes. Then she started praising him, saying how cute he was. After bathing, he felt a shy but happy feeling. However, his mind still did not allow him to forgive the evil female, and he constantly reminded himself of this. Suddenly, he felt an unexpected desire to turn into a snake. Looking at his mother, he was worried not to scare her. In the end, he decided that he would try. If Beiji could do it, then why couldn't he? As he continued to transform, he thought that at worst, he would just get beaten up again. Si Yen, still recovering from Beiji's embrace, was surprised by Shi Qing's appearance. Her face, green with fear, spoke of intense terror. The boy calmly curled up into a ball and simply fell asleep. As she watched, the girl realized that they always chose to remain in their animal form. She also remembered the boy's words about how babies liked the snake shape better, and decided to suffer for their comfort. The next day, Cien went hunting again, remembering that everything went well last time. She wanted to check what kind of loot she could get today. But her optimism soon faded, as she didn't encounter a single predator, and she decided it was a bad day. When she was about to return home, she didn't notice a bird flying nearby. When I saw him, I realized that this creature was much more dangerous than a large white tiger. Cien was not confused and instantly readied her weapon, ready for any turn of events. But she soon realized that things were bad, because the bullets hardly hurt him. Meanwhile, the beast man, confident in his strength and physical toughness, thought he had attracted her attention, and only then did he realize what else had frightened him. The girl's appearance and tense posture betrayed fear, but she held firm. Mu Xiao assumed that the girl was playing some kind of game with him and decided to follow her rules. Meanwhile, Shi Yan thought that it was impossible to enter into a direct confrontation with him. Grabbing hold of the vine, she tried to get to a safe distance from the bird. But at the last moment, the vine could not withstand the weight, and the girl fell down. The bird flew under her and managed to catch her, saving her from an inevitable fall. The girl, who had always thought that the bird was trying to destroy her, was now completely confused. When the bird landed, she assumed that it was actually a person. At that moment, the bird transformed into a strange man who, upon their first meeting, had thought her ugly. The man noted that the great god of animals is fair, because during the union of a female with a strong male, she receives his strength. He added that he would soon reach the amethyst rank level and suggested that she become his partner. Confident in his strength and appearance, he believed that anyone would fight for him. Looking at the girl's beautiful face, he was convinced that she too would not be able to resist his charms. But Si Yan coldly apologized and explained that she already had a husband. She added that he is the father of all 4 of her children. Even in the conditions of the apocalypse, she adhered to monogamy. Although she had never seen the husband of the previous owner of this body, the marriage mark forbade her from accepting another. Her husband's next question about the reason for her apology surprised her greatly. Mu Xiao didn't understand why he decided that she wanted him to become her main man. Si Yan did not know the local customs and did not understand what he was talking about at all. Meanwhile, the man, convinced that the girl really wanted him, introduced himself to Mu Xiao, a genius from the city of White Eagle, and complimented her taste in men. Suddenly, another beast man appeared, calling Mu Xiao a bird stranger and reminding him that the female had clearly rejected him. Si Yan didn't notice the predator at first, but later saw a crystal on its forehead. She assumed it was Tyson, who was happy to be recognized. With a hostile look at Mu Xiao, he asked the girl to hide in a safe place, and he added that as soon as he got things done, he would come for her. Meanwhile, Mu Xiao once again took on the form of a bird, and a fierce battle ensued between them. Watching the battle, Shi Yan noticed that the power of destruction exceeded even the abilities of the best warriors of the apocalypse. Realizing that she and Tyson were from the same tribe, she decided to help him. Suddenly, a strong wind arose around the girl from an unknown source. The next moment, she found herself in the clutches of a bird flying into the sky. The wolf, unable to fly, remained on the ground and only growled. And then she suddenly fell down. But the bird picked it up again, and now the flight became relatively comfortable. Despite this, the girl did not like the flight and screamed to be let go because she felt dizzy. Eventually, they landed on a deserted island. Trying to come to her senses after the extreme flight, Si Yan became angry at the cursed bird that had taken her to an unknown place. During all this time, her maternal instinct woke up, and she remembered that 4 hungry children were waiting for her at home. Using the weapon, she wrapped a rope around the bird's neck. Threatening his life, the girl demanded that he return her. At such moments, she forgot that he was a beast man, capable of transforming into a human, and this time he did it too. However, Mu Xiao obviously didn't understand her hints and believed that they had mutual feelings, suggesting that they become a couple right now. Pulling the rope even tighter, Si Yan noticed that she already had 1 male and was not going to take another. She added that, in addition, she had to return home immediately. The man seemed not to be listening to her at all, because the words about 1 male surprised him greatly. Believing that there was no other female as rare on the entire continent, he realized that she was a true treasure. So he dared to ask if she was sure she could make it back right now. Si Yan, who had been sick during the flight, didn't really want to feel it again, but the kids were waiting for her at home, probably angry with her. Meanwhile, evening came, and the children really began to wait for their mother. Dunshi seemed the calmest of all, because he believed that the female had already died somewhere and would never return. But Beiji declared that he was talking nonsense, noting that he was also worried about her. Dunshi was sure that if she had cheated once, she could do it again. And besides, his arms and legs were now broken, and he felt like a useless cripple. Then Shi Qing joined the conversation, suggesting that she was unlikely to leave them now. After all, during all this time he had noticed how much she had changed, and he suspected that something serious had happened to her. Beiji, realizing that she had only chosen the role of mother, could not let her disappear again, so he decided to go look for her. Saiching didn't want to let his brother go by himself, so he decided to go with him. Donkey also ordered his brother, Nanmo, to go with Shiqing. When the boy was left alone, he no longer held back his emotions, because he was sincerely worried about his mother. Meanwhile, Shi Yan continued to sit on the seashore, enjoying the sea breeze. Suddenly, the waves threw a turtle towards her, which had sea ducks on it. Using her protective gear, she carefully removed them from the shell. From the turtle's smile, she could tell that he felt much better. Xian was also happy, because these ducks could be used to make dinner. But she didn't yet realize that dinner would have to be postponed, because the other turtles began to crawl towards her. Even without being able to speak, the girl understood from their looks that they wanted her to rid them of the parasites. After a while, she finally cleaned all the turtles and let them swim. Finally, they smiled and made incomprehensible sounds. Cien realized that this was their way of thanking her. She hadn't felt this way in the past apocalyptic world, but now it was an incredible feeling. Finally, Musha returned to her. Seeing the sea ducks, he wondered if she had been hunting again. Cian didn't understand when he saw her hunting and decided to ask him himself what his words meant. Did you like the recap? Want a continuation? Write part 2 in the comments.